Hey, hey, hey. Time for another Out of This World story from rSpace. How do you survive a breakup? Well, you wrangle up your drunk friends. Today on rSpace, it's a fine line between moral support and babysitting intoxicated grown men. If you haven't seen the first part of this saga, the link to the part 2 video is in the description. I discovered my wife, 28 female of 7 years, is cheating on me, 30 male. She doesn't know that I know. Update 5. Emily's email. A lot of you were wondering about Bev's husband. Bev's husband texted me back, crap, and then thanks man. I don't know how exactly to interpret that, but I'm too tired to be invested in Bev's husband's marriage. I told him about his wife being a piece of crap. What he does with that is on him. Good luck, buddy. Oh, this is all fake. Fine, just block me and ignore me. Go play Reddit Batman someplace else. Emily's mom texted me using Emily's phone. She wants me to unblock her. I ignored it. Several hours later, she asked me again and promised not to bring up Emily if I would unblock her. I unblocked mother-in-law's number. I texted her and told her I was still alive, had no plans to change that status, and that I will unblock her later on so we could talk. I told her in no uncertain terms that I only want to chat about me or her, but not Emily. I told her I need a break from all of this, and I'll unblock her later and to be patient. I'll contact her again. Emily tried a perfunctory, "I'm sorry you're hurt" text, which wasn't very comforting. Hints from her texts and the fact that her mom is using her phone to text me indicate to me that she's at her parents' house now. There was a long silence of several hours, and finally Emily texted me to check my email. Went to spam folder, and there it is. As before, I obfuscated the text and writing because I don't want her to do a text search on the internet and find my posts. So yeah, the email she wrote didn't have these misspellings. She has autocorrect and spell check like everyone else. Sorry for the annoying spelling. You grammar Nazis are now the victims of my paranoia. Also, I am making comments in the email too, like before, because I'm no contact, and this is therapy for me. Here we go. My name. I keep thinking about how this can't be real. It can't just be over. How you can just shut me out like I was nothing to you. It's killing me. Yeah, that's the idea, Emily. It sucks when you get abandoned by the one you love, huh? I don't even know how to start this because my mind is racing and nothing makes sense. I know I don't deserve a response, but please, just read this. Please don't delete it. I just need you to hear me. I talked with my dad and sister-in-law's husband. I told them how I messed up. They said I was stupid and they're right. I told them about how I never loved John and I always loved you. And they laughed and told me that doesn't matter at all. I felt so stupid. I know you're done with me. I know I don't get to ask anything from you, but don't I at least deserve to explain? To look you in the eyes and tell you how sorry I am? To tell you I never stopped loving you? You think you know everything, but you don't. Yes, I effed up. I betrayed you in a way that I can't take back, but it wasn't because I didn't love you. I need you to know that it was never what you think it was. It wasn't about love. It wasn't even about sex. I was pressured and felt obligated. Oh yeah, just let me shave my privates, wear some $700 underwear, and traipse on down to the expensive boutique hotel for a nice raping. Help, police. John didn't just walk into my life and sweep me off my feet. He inserted himself. He did so much for me and for my business. You know how much I was struggling? How close I was to losing everything? He was the one who helped me. He connected me with the right people. He helped me with my lease and with contracts, with vendors. He got me meetings I could have never gotten on my own, and I let myself believe that he was just being a mentor, that he just wanted to help me. I told myself it was just one time, that if I just gave in once, it would be enough, that he'd stop pressing, but it wasn't enough, and I didn't know how to get out of it. I kept telling him no, but he always had a way of making me feel like I was being ungrateful, like after everything he did for me, I was selfish for not giving him what he wanted. I hate myself for not shutting it down from the start, for being so effing stupid, for letting it go on. I tried to stop it, but every time I pulled away, he'd remind me of how much he helped me, how I wouldn't be where I am without him, how I'd ruin everything if I cut him off. So I kept making excuses. I told myself I had it under control. I thought I could handle it. What do we call someone who trades sex with someone they don't love for goods and services? Tip of my tongue. And then Christmas happened. New Year's Eve happened. And that's when I knew he wouldn't stop. That's when I knew I had to end it for good. I did end it. But by then, it was all effed up. Everything was effed up. I knew I had to tell you. I wanted to tell you. I knew that the second I told you that you'd never look at me the same way again, that it would be ruined and I couldn't handle it. I knew you at least suspected ever since you accused me at New Year's Eve. I just put my head down and wanted it to go away. So I kept putting it off and telling myself I'd find the right time, but there was never a right time, and now I've lost you anyway. I can't stop thinking about Charleston. Do you remember? That stupid little bed and breakfast where you hated the coffee, and we spent half an hour at a gas station just so you could get a normal cup of coffee? And we sat outside that little seafood shack by the water, eating fried shrimp and laughing at the seagulls trying to steal our food, and you were acting like a knight with your funny British voice protecting my food and making me laugh? Yeah, I loved that weekend. Remember when you didn't F other guys? That was a swell time too. I don't expect anything. I don't expect you to take me back, but I also can't believe that you would just walk away without even talking to me. After everything, don't we deserve that much? I'll sign whatever you want. I'll give you whatever you want. But please don't just disappear. Don't pretend like I never mattered, because I know I did. She'll sign? That smells like a trap. I love you so much. I always have. And I'm terrified that I'll never get the chance to tell you that in person again. I loved you too, but I need you to get out of my life for both our sakes. Please, Emily. I reread my comments and I sound like a heartless bastard. I'm just tired, I guess. No mention of John's credit card. No mention of how the affair wasn't fun for her anymore. No mention of how she was supposed to be handling me. Is this what they call trickle truth? Because a lot of this sounds like the Emily I know, to be honest. Maybe there's some truth to it, but she's downplaying her role in it all. It's like this was all happening to her and she wasn't an active participant. I mean, I feel sorry that she lost control or whatever, but it's not like she didn't have a choice. She chose to sleep with the guy because she felt obligated and he did her favors. Doesn't that mean she's a prostitute? Sounds like I was a precedent in naming her affair partner John. Here, I thought it was just 4 letters that are easy to type on a keyboard, and it turns out to be a roll. Should I petition the mods to change my username to Oblivious Pimp 6969? I do want to know what you all think about it, but I'm telling you right now, it doesn't make a difference ultimately. She tried to change the narrative to the point where we're both victims instead of just me, and I think that's just crappy. The really effed up thing is that part of me wants to believe her, that she was just a victim of John. But the problem is, that doesn't change the fact that she slept with him for almost a year. If I forgive that, then what am I? Just sign the papers, Emily, and let's move on from this. Can't you do that for me? Please? You're young, you're beautiful, you don't have any kids, you're a successful business owner, and you have a whole wardrobe of fancy designer clothes courtesy of your sugar daddy. You're killing it at life. Go live somewhere the F away from me. Pressured into an affair she actively participated in while also bravely trying to stop it? What is she literally saying right now? No one accidentally has an affair for almost a year. She knew what she was doing, and now that she's facing the consequences, she wants to shift the narrative. The worst part? She almost made you question your reality, wondering if you should feel sorry for her. That's how good some people are at manipulation. Update 6. So my friends took me out on a night on the town. I had informed them ahead of time that I would not be drinking. They informed me ahead of time that they would be drinking. Oh well. The dudes who took me out on the town were fake names. Jim, my friend from high school who knew Emily and I both. He's married. Jim was pretty floored that Emily did this. Matt was a groom I met early on when Emily was working her job. Early on in Emily's career, before John, a bride had her hair and makeup artist bail last minute, and my wife jumped in because she was the first person they called who said yes in such a short notice. I packed along her hair and makeup stuff. Emily since has had everything packed up in an efficient way, but this was at the beginning before she had everything down to a science. I sat with Matt and chatted him up and calmed him down before his wedding while his bride and mine did their thing. We had a lot in common and the time flew by fast. Emily and I kept up with him and his wife and went on couples dates with them occasionally, but mainly Matt and I would hang with Jim. Bob is our single friend. Well, I guess I am now too. He's always the odd man out with the couples, but the married guys would hang with him just so we could live vicariously through his singleness. You could just set up a board game in your living room and leave it? We'd mainly get together and play D&D. Yeah, we're nerds. Bob is the DM. We went out to dinner at a pretty nice steakhouse, which was a nice change from protein shakes, but it was all still kind of hard to eat. Eat your steak, you wuss, followed by laughter at the catchphrase. I got it all down like a big boy. After dinner, I recounted to most of them of the saga that's in my posts, minus some details. I don't want exactly what I know to get back to Emily, even though these guys are trustworthy. They were very supportive. They couldn't believe Emily did that to me, and they couldn't believe I did that to Emily. They were pretty upset with Emily. Matt told me that he heard Emily is really struggling. I stopped him right there and told him I didn't want to talk about or hear about Emily beyond what we had already talked about. The steak dinner was delicious but expensive. Afterwards, we went to this country dive bar Bob heard about. It's the kind of place where the floors are one large glue trap for human beings. The floors were really sticky enough that I had to retie my shoes with double knots. That's how you know you're in a good dive bar, right? They were drinking beer and bourbon shots while I was staying sober. I don't need the alcohol fairy advising me to call Emily and cry and weep and then eat a bullet. Nope. I talked to my dad a couple of days beforehand and he told me to stay away from alcohol. I was way ahead of him on that one, and that real men drink bitters and soda when they're not drinking booze at a bar, and not diet soda or mocktails. Those are for pussies. I asked the bartender for a bitters and soda, confident that I'd be looked at like a manly man, and she teased me and said, "Okay, Grandpa," and poured me some club soda and shook some droplets from what looked like a brown Tabasco bottle. Thanks, Dad. I liked the taste, though. I soon became stuck in that sober guy limbo where everything is funny, but you know, in 1 hour you're going to be babysitting adult toddlers. The guys got more and more hammered and more enraged about what Emily did to me. They were wanting to call her up and yell at her. I told them I took care of it and talked about that video I linked a bunch of times here about how absolute silence and no contact is the right way to treat a cheater. They seemed to agree. Jim was calling the female bartender bro. Matt was downing a draft beer while stuffing steak nachos down his throat after a steak dinner. He and his wife are pesca vegetarians, so I have aided and abetted dietary infidelity just like Bev did with real actual penis adultery. I have no shame now. Matt paid for that sudden intake of red meat later. We had some lively conversations about politics and their relationships, but not mine. Just to head off the questions, I don't know if there were any pretty girls there. I wasn't really looking. I felt like a burn victim, like everyone was staring at me and doing that thing where you inhale sharply between clenched teeth. After the bar kicked us out at the end of the night, I herded them into Jim's minivan and kept Bob from purchasing a homeless man's dog. Jim didn't need that smell in his minivan, and Jim's wife would harpoon me. Matt was moaning and holding his stomach. I stole a trash bag from the little closet in the bar's restroom just in case he needed to throw up. I drove them all home, let them get their own cars the next day. I walked Bob to his bed, thought the better of it, and decided to just cut out the middleman and deposited him in front of his toilet, head hanging over the side. I gave Matt over to his pregnant wife and told her that it will be Matt who's vomiting for a change. She tried to talk with me about Emily, but I politely shut it down quickly. I don't know why her friends are so invested in us getting back together. I can only assume they don't know the whole story. I don't want to reveal details to anyone until I absolutely have to. I drove Jim's minivan home to his house. I shoveled Jim into his master bath where he proceeded to sacrifice his expensive steak dinner to the porcelain gods. It's okay, I didn't pay for it. Jim's wife gave me a big hug and asked me how I'm holding up. I said as good as I can be expected. She said that I should concentrate on whatever new beginning I choose next. I guess I just won at soon-to-be ex-husband bingo because I think that's the top 3 things I've been hearing and saying lately. I paid for a ride back to the bar where I made sure all their cars were locked down before I drove mine to the hotel where I'm currently staying. Sunday night, we played D&D and Codenames at Bob's place. None of us drank. I had a good time then too. I'm going back to work on Monday. By that I mean I'll be bringing my laptops either to the public library or a coffee shop to do my work. I don't have any in-person meetings scheduled for my office next week. I think I'm just going to lay low and establish a new normal. Next week, or maybe the week after, I'll be moving over to my dad's friend's Airbnb remodel and helping out there in my spare time. That will be my home for the foreseeable future. Right now, we're waiting on the credit cards records, and to my knowledge, Emily hasn't gotten a lawyer yet. Come on, default judgment. My lawyer told me John's wife contacted her. She didn't get any more specific than that. Nothing from Bev or her husband. They're Emily's friends, not mine. I did her hubby a favor, though. What happens next is up to him. To answer the multiple questions here, the only overnights Emily had during the time period of her affair were when she visited her parents, 3 times. I verified it with them each time, not because I was paranoid, but I just liked talking to mother-in-law and it was an excuse to chat with her. The third time Emily went, she came down with the flu, and mother-in-law took care of her for a couple of days. I called every day. I'm pretty convinced that she didn't do overnights with John. The closest she came was during New Year's Eve. I suppose mother-in-law could have aided and abetted her infidelity, but she's very religious and I don't believe she'd do that. Not gonna lie, it would hurt a lot if she did. As far as news of Emily, I have no idea since I'm no contact. Matt said his wife said that Emily is struggling, and that's it. I hope she gets help if it gets too bad. I checked the cameras, and Emily seems to have moved out of the house. I believe she's with her parents currently, which is a hell of a commute for her, so she's probably taking time off work. I'll update if anything significant happens, believe me. Otherwise, I won't be as active on here as I was last week. You're handling things as well as anyone could. You've set boundaries with people who try to bring up Emily. You're keeping your focus on your next steps, and you're not letting yourself spiral. It's not on you to caretake Emily's feelings now, and her friends pushing for reconciliation probably don't know the full story because if they did, they'd realize there's nothing to fix here. What's the best or worst way a friend has tried to support you after a breakup? And thank you for joining us today on rSpace. Be sure to like and subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on our next video. And stay tuned for more of this epic saga.